Okay, good morning everybody, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning as we are studying together Perashat Balak. Now, our Perashah is a beautiful Perashah because in it, Bilam tries to curse the Jewish people, and eventually, not only doesn't he succeed in cursing us, but he winds up giving us the most beautiful blessings of maybe the entire Torah. And matter of fact, we actually have a verse, a pasuk that we say every single morning when we come into the Beit Knesset. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. How beautiful are your tents, Yaakov, your places of dwelling, Israel. And this pasuk is not only said when we walk into the synagogue, it's even written in many synagogues on the Hechal. Could you imagine? A synagogue has one pasuk to pick, and we pick a pasuk that was actually uttered by an anti-Semite. We pick a pasuk that was said by Bilam. Could you imagine a quote in a synagogue you see on the wall? Imagine you see a quote from Hitler, Yamah Shemo. Or you see a quote from Henry Ford, or any one of these anti-Semites. You know, it's a nice quote. There's wisdom to that quote. But to quote an anti-Semite in a synagogue, it's hardly appropriate. And not only do we quote him, we engrave it on the Hechal. So our parasha over here, and that's really a class in itself, the idea of a Jew being able to take no matter what curse comes our way in life, and to turn it into the biggest beracha, and to turn it into our highlight, into the moment, into an event that we're going to actually take in our mantra, etc., etc. This is a Jew. And these psukim over here that Bilam ends up blessing us with, they're very beautiful, and each pasuk is very poetic. You have to really spend a lot of time analyzing and understanding every single pasuk. Today, Rabotai, with your permission, I would like to actually share with you a pasuk that at first glance, again, not so clear what the Hidush is, what is it trying to tell us. This is going to be one of the blessings of Bilam. So please, everybody, if you can, join me in chapter 24. Vayisa ben Bilam edenav. Bilam looked up, he saw Israel encamped, and he says, Matovu alecha Yaakov, how fair are your tents, O Jacob. Okay, depending on the translation. Kinhalim nitayu, like palm groves that stretch out, like gardens beside a river, like aloes planted by Hashem, like cedars beside the water. Okay, a lot of poetry over here. So one of the psukim, let's go fast forward to pasuk number 9. Okay, he's going on. Again, each pasuk here we could spend the whole class, B'ezrat Hashem, one day analyzing and understanding what is the message, what is the depth of Bilam's blessing. There is a pasuk over here, pasuk number 9. Kara shachav ka'ari. They crouch, they lie down like a lion. Uchlavi mi yekimenu. Who dares arouse them like a lioness? Mevarechecha baruch ve'orarecha arur. Those who bless you will be blessed, and those who cursed you will be cursed. So, what does this mean that they crouch like a lion? So on a simple level, Rashi says, Ketargumo, following Onkelus's translation, he says, Yityashevu be'artam be'koach u'bigvura. What does that mean? That he will rest like a lion? They will be settled in their land in strength and might. Meaning, right here, we're on the border of Israel, and don't think you could stop them, Balak. You're not going to stop them. They're going to go like a lion, and they're going to settle there just like a lion. He has power over his domain. He has control. No one dares evict a lion. The Jewish people will be in the land of Israel, and there's no stopping them. The Gemara in Masechet Berachot, though, there's a different spin on this pasuk. Take a look at this amazing Gemara, Rabotai. And again, Gemara is something that we should all try to study if we can. The Gemara tells us in Masechet Berachot something beautiful. Amar Rabbi Abahu ben Zutarti, Amar Rabbi Yehuda bar Zevida. Over here, the author of the following statement is Rabbi Abahu, in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Bikshu legvoa parashat Balak b'kriyat Shema. Our rabbis were on the verge of instituting the portion of parashat Balak as part of the daily kriyat Shema. So that means every single day there's a mitzvah to pray to Hashem. What is the mitzvah to pray? The mitzvah is to say the Amidah. Besides the Amidah, we also have a mitzvah to say the Shema every single day. How do we know that we have a mitzvah to say Shema every single day? Because the Torah says, Beshoch becha ubkumecha, to say the Shema when you go to sleep, and to say the Shema when you wake up. So every morning in synagogue, we add Shema, because that's a mitzvah. And every night in Arbit, we add Shema. That's why there's no Shema in Mincha time. Because it's not when you wake up and it's not when you go to sleep. Unless, some people, they do wake up at Mincha time. Okay, but either way, the normal people, regular people, don't wake up in Mincha time. So we say Shema in the morning for Shaharit. We say Shema in the night for Arbit. And our rabbis were very, very close to adding part of the Shema, just like you have three separate paragraphs. We have Ve'ahavta, we have Ve'haya, and we have Vayomer. The rabbis were about to add a fourth paragraph, the paragraph of Perashat Balak. Umepenei ma lo keva'uha. Why didn't they? Mishum Torah Tzibur. Because it's going to be an encumbrance on the congregation. There's something called in Jewish halakha Torah Tzibur. We don't want to inconvenience the people too much. Okay, it's a hassle to make everyone as it is. People are rushing to get out of synagogue in Shaharit on a weekday. If the Chazan, God forbid, takes an extra 30 seconds for the Amidah, everyone's huffing and puffing and looking around. What's going on? What's the Chazan taking his time for? God forbid, if a Chazan goes up, that's not Speedy Gonzalez, forget about it. He'll never enter the shul again. And if there's Yehi Shem, Yehi Shem, everybody is the happiest camper, right? We're ready to do Hallel on a day that there's Yehi Shem. That's how happy we become, right? You ever saw people smile on a day in shul that we say Yehi Shem? I always said, 2 words can make anyone who's so depressed, 2 words can make them happy. Yehi Shem. Just tell a guy in shul, Yehi Shem. Right? Yehi Shem is the best day of the year. Okay. And especially if it's a Monday and Thursday, the guy will give $1,000 to tzedakah that day. If you ask him, no problem. Okay? Baruch Hashem. So, we don't want to inconvenience the people in shul too much. As it is, it's too long. Between 45 minutes to come to shul, chas v'shalom. So to add another prayer, right? Add 5 more minutes, 50 minutes, no way. So the rabbis were very smart. So they refrained from adding this paragraph of Bil'am into the Shema. The Gemara wants to know, what is so special about this paragraph? What's so special that you're going to add it into the Shema? Mai ta'ama, asks the Gemara. Why did the rabbis, what was so impressive about this paragraph of Perashat Balak? Imagine I asked you, guys, what do you think is the most important paragraph in the whole Torah? I think most of us would say Shema Yisrael. It's the morning that we're taught as kids. It's the first sentence we're taught as kids. It's the last sentence that we say in this world as we go into the next. Very important paragraph. Could anyone disagree with that? Shema Yisrael, all in favor? I think we have unanimous vote, Shema Yisrael. Okay, what's the next, the most important paragraph? After these paragraphs of Shema. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, Bereshit bara Elokim. I don't know, there's a lot of psukim. I don't know if anyone would have thought Perashat Balak. Gemara says, what's so special about Perashat Balak? If you say, because it has in it a mention of El Moti'am Mizrahi, okay? Chapter 23, Pasuk 22. The Pasuk says, it mentioned how God took us out of Egypt. That's nothing special about Balak. That's in many places. Says the Gemara, you could talk about the portions of Rebit. What's Rebit? Anyone know? Rebit is usury. The prohibition to charge interest. Also over there in Leviticus chapter 25, Pasuk 35, it says, all of the forbidden laws of usury. And then it says how I took them out of Egypt. Not only that, Parashat Mishkalot, honest weights, being honest in business. Leviticus 19, Pasuk 35, also over there it says that Hashem took us out of Egypt. So if you want to mention Balak because it mentioned Mizrahi, there are other paragraphs in the Torah that mention Mizrahi. There's nothing unique about Balak in that regard. And the other paragraphs are brief, so you don't have the problem of Torah Tzibur, of inconveniencing the congregation. Ella, rather, no, Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Ravin, says Rabbi Yossi bar Ravin, you know what's so special about the paragraph of Balak? You know what's special? This pasuk. Because it says, Kara shachav ka'ari, they lie down like a lion, uchlavi mi yekimenu, and who will wake him up like a lioness? And those psukim, that pasuk, is the reason the rabbis were about to add it into the Shema. What's so special about this pasuk, Rabotai? Rashi says because in this pasuk we have an echo of Shema. Shema is beshoch becha u'kumecha, when you go to sleep and when you wake up. And this pasuk says, go to sleep like a lion, wake up like a lioness. So this seems to be a very important pasuk. And really, this needs understanding. Just because it mentions waking up, just because it mentions going to sleep, that's a reason you're going to add it into the Shema. What exactly is the Gemara over here saying? But again, there seems to be something very powerful about this episode, my friends, of Parashat Balak. Not only in the Gemara, but even in the Pasuk. The Pasuk in Micha, I'm not sure if we ever got to Micha. For those who study Navi, usually we don't get to the book of Micha. Chapter 6, he writes, Ami, my nation, Zechor na maya'at Balak melech Moav. Remember what Balak wanted to do to you. And remember how Bilam answered him, Leman da'at tzidkot Hashem. And all of that is to teach you how much Hashem loves us. The Navi over here, he's trying to encourage the Jews and remind them how beloved they are to Hashem. And you know which episode in history he goes back to? The episode of our parasha, Parashat Balak. That, according to the Navi, was enough proof for the Jewish people to know how beloved they are by Hashem. What is so special about this parasha, Rabotai? Over here, in the Yalkut Lekach Tov, he quotes a sefer of Aaron Troy, the Kometz HaMincha. And he says over here, my friend, something that is remarkable. Please pay attention. He says, our parasha is very different from any other parasha in the entire Bible. Take all the books of Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Devarim. They all are on one side. Our parasha this week, Balak, on the other side. How come? Says, very interesting. Where did this parasha happen? We know when it happened. It happened as the Jewish people are on the edge of the land of Israel. But he says, take a look. Every episode that's written and recorded in our Torah, just go back to the story of the spies. Go back to when the Jews complained. Go back to when Moshe hit the rock. Go back to when Miriam died, Aharon died. Every story that's recorded, the Jewish people saw it. They witnessed it. We saw Moshe hit the rock. And so we wrote down, Moshe hit the rock. We saw the spies fail. We wrote down, the spies failed. Not our parasha. Our parasha, we never saw. Think about it. Where is our parasha taking place? It's taking place in some other nation behind the scenes that the Jews aren't even aware about. We didn't see Balak send messengers to hire Bilam. We didn't see Bilam hitting his donkey and the 3 times. We didn't see Bilam going on the mountain and looking at us. You know, sometimes like in a movie, you have one scene, what's going on with the good people, and you have the camera shifts to another scene, another angle of what the villain is plotting to kill the good people, right? You know, she's dipping the apple in the poison to go kill Snow White. You know what I mean? Snow White doesn't know that's going on. The protagonist doesn't see that. The Jewish people are completely unaware of what's happening here between Balak and Balaam. They're playing sheshbesh, doing some hookah. I don't know what they're doing, right? The Jewish people, they're learning Torah, they're having a great time. Balak is on a mountain trying to hurt them, trying to curse them. Am Yisrael had no idea. Ish min bnei Yisrael lo ra'ah. Nobody of the Jews saw Balak sending messengers to Balaam. No one understood that they were trying to conspire against them. Not only that, all of the brachot that he gave us, Moshe didn't see it, the Jewish people didn't see it. So the whole parasha really is a secret. It's not something that we witnessed. And if so, you'll ask, so then how do we know what happened? How did Moshe record it in the Torah? No one, by the way, found out that this happened. Balak never came and said, by the way, you should know, I hired Balaam, didn't work, you guys are really good, can we make peace? Balak never told him that. How did the Jews know any of this? What's the answer, Rabotai? What's the answer? How do we know all of this happened if we weren't there to see it? The answer is because we didn't see it, but Hashem did. And Hashem, im yisater ish b'mistarim, the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, if someone's going to do something in hiding, va'ani lo ereinu, can I not see him, says God. God can see everything. And therefore, hakol galui ve'yadu lefanav yitbarach, everything is revealed in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, he is the one that revealed it to Moshe to write it down. And this is what we know to be, as Jews, what we believe, one of the tenets of our faith. And that is that the Torah was not written by man. You have many Bible critics, unfortunately, that say smart men got together, they wrote the Torah, they made up these laws, they realized that this is the best way to have a society in the world, okay, things that according to us are heresy, hypocrisy, that are apikorsut, forbidden to believe such things. We don't believe in any of that. We believe the Torah is from Shamayim, from A to Z. And you know what's one of the proofs? Our parasha. How did Moshe know this? Where did he get it from? Who told him that Balak tried to kill us? Unless God told him. So that is a proof. So that's one tenet of our faith is already found in our parasha. But not only that, there's another very important message that we learn. The Jewish people actually, it's funny because Balak was afraid of us. Really, he had no reason to be. Because Hashem told the Jewish people, Al tatzar et Moav. What does that mean? Don't agitate them, don't start up with them. Do not fight Moav. We did not have permission to engage. We didn't have permission. Why? Because out of Moav is going to come Ruta Moaviyah. And therefore God says, leave them alone, don't touch them. So Balak is worried for nothing. We really came beshalom. We sat at the edge of Moav. We didn't bother them. We didn't prepare battle, nothing. The whole time, Balak is paranoid. And he comes and he tries to kill us. And what does he say to Balaam? He says, Ulai uchal nakebo. Maybe you and I together can fight him. Maybe between my weapons and your tongue and your curse, we could curse and destroy the Jewish people. And Hashem, of course, didn't allow the curses to happen. Hashem turned the kilala into beracha. And so here's another miracle. Meaning, not only do we learn that the Torah is from God, because after all, this whole parasha, who told it to us? Unless it's Hashem that told it to us. That's number one. But number two, we also see how Hashem was able to get involved and stop the curses and thwart off the plans of Bilam. This is what we call in Hebrew, Hashgaha Peratit. What does Hashgaha Peratit mean? It means that Hashem is watching over us. Many people believe in a God, but they believe that God is uninvolved. He's too big. He's not concerned. He's up there. Just like when you create a table, you sold it. Do you know where the table is? You don't know where it is. It could be in America. Someone could have bought it and shipped it to Europe. You don't know where the table is in the world. Same thing with Hashem. You don't know where you are. He don't care where you are. He left us alone. And of course, again, as Jews, we don't believe in such things. And as He's trying to curse us, Hashem is wide awake. Like we say in Shira Ma'alot, Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael. God doesn't sleep, nor does He slumber. Hashem is awake. Hashem is protecting us. As we're sleeping, as we're playing sheshbesh, as we're hanging out, what are the Jews doing? They don't know this guy is out there trying to curse us. And this is not only with Balaam, this is time and again historically. How many times the Goyim tried to kill us that we aren't even aware about it? You know, there's many stories that make it to the news of rockets that come to Israel and the Iron Dome and how we were saved and miracles. But there's many stories that never make it to the news because the news doesn't find out or they don't want to put it. I don't know which one. But there's many times that I'm sure our enemies, all the Arabs that are trying to kill us, or any nation in the world, that they have probably plans that end up being sabotaged, that they never make it to the news. And we never find out that they even try to hurt us to begin with. And there's many miracles that we have to thank Hashem for that we don't even know about. You know, there's many miracles that we know about, but there's ones that never make it out to the news, that we don't even know. Just like here, the Jewish people, they had no idea. If you went to a Jew and you said, by the way, what would you like to thank Hashem for today? Jew would wake up in the desert, he would say, I want to thank Hashem for the man. Good, what else? I want to thank Hashem for the water. Good, keep going. For the clouds. Excellent, 3 for 3, keep going. I want to thank Hashem for the saving us from Og. Good. That's it. I'm done. I don't have anything else. Well, Hashem saved you from Balaam. You know what the Jews would have said? Who's Balaam? Who's Balak? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't engage in war with Balaam, Moab. We were fine. We're at peace with them. We're on the edge. We're hanging out, and they're leaving us alone. The Jews had no idea that in the meantime, they're hiring a man, Balaam, to try to kill us. We're unaware. We didn't even know it's something to thank Hashem for. That's what it means in Tehillim. Le'oseh niflaot gedolot levado ki le'olam hasdo. You know, on Shabbat, we say this chapter 136. 26 different things to thank Hashem for. After each one we say, Ki le'olam hasdo, right? So, one of the things is for the God who does miracles levado. What does that mean? He does miracles levado. He does miracles alone? Of course, that's not what it means. Of course, Hashem does miracles alone. We're not helping Him. Of course, Hashem does miracles by Himself. So what does it mean He does miracles alone? It means He does miracles that He alone is aware of. There's many things in life, Rabotai, that we don't know even He did for us. There's many miracles that we don't see. How many attacks that end up becoming again just diverted, that end up crumbling, that Hashem did. He saved us. And we didn't even know about it to thank Him. That's what it means, that He does miracles levado. He does miracles not by Himself, but He does miracles that only He Himself is aware of. So this is what we call, again, Rabotai, the hashgacha pratit, the protection, the divine providence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Our rabbis say in a way, in Baal Hanes Makir Beniso, the guy who the miracle happened to many times is not even aware to the extent of the miracle. You don't even know the half of it. A lot of times we don't even know how big of a miracle it really was. And therefore, these are two important principles. Number one, that the Torah is from the heavens. And number two, that Hashem is constantly watching over us. You know, the Rav Yosef Albo has a book called Sefer HaIkarim, and in there he says there are 3 pillars of faith that every Jew must accept. Number 1, that God exists. Okay, so we have to believe that. There is a God, right? It's hard sometimes to believe it. My son, I'm in trouble. My son is 6 years old. He came to me, he says, Dad, who created Hashem? I said, no one, he was just there. He says, what do you mean? It can't be. He was just there. Someone had to put him there. Who put him there? Go ahead, try explaining to a 6-year-old. Try explaining to a 60-year-old. These are hard questions, right? So number one, to believe Hashem, that He was there from the beginning of time, always there, no one put Him there, etc. Number two, he says, to believe that the Torah is God's book, not written by man. And number three, to believe that Hashem is involved in man's life. Hashgacha peratit. Now he says we understand what do our rabbis mean when they say that the rabbis, they wanted to include this chapter of Balak into the daily Shema. He says now we understand why. Because the daily Shema reminds us Hashem Echad, that there is a God. And then our Parashat Balak, reminds us that number two, the Torah is from the heavens. And number three, that Hashem is involved in our day-to-day life, protecting Am Yisrael, no matter where in the world they are, no matter who is trying to hurt us. And therefore, together, the paragraph of Shema with combined the Parasha of Balak reinforce every single day these three tenets of our faith. That is why the Navi, again, emphasizes of all the Parashiyot, specifically this one. So this, I think, Rabotai, is an amazing idea, really tremendous chizuk for us, remembering how no matter where, no matter what we're going through, Hashem is aware. A lot of times we feel, God, are you even noticing? Do you not see the pain that I'm in? Could you give me a break? Could you give me a Kit Kat bar? Okay, no, I'm kidding. Could you give me, come on, just give me something. Cut me some slack. Hashem, sometimes we feel like He's sleeping. We feel like He's MIA. We feel like He just forgot about us. We feel like there's other people in the world that He's paying attention to, and me, He's just, who cares about you? And the reminder of our parasha is that not only is Hashem involved, but Hashem is involved even when we don't even know that He's involved, in more ways than we could ever imagine. How many times the Jewish people, the famous story of Erwin Rommel, the desert fox, when he was coming to attack Palestine, he was traveling through northern Africa and he was wiping out city after city, and he made it to somewhere in Egypt, and he had a clear path to the promised land. Nobody was in his way, and he was ready to go, and he sends a quick letter to the headquarters, to Hitler. I'm ready to attack. I see it. It's in clear view. Permission requested. And they sent him back. Permission denied. You don't have permission. And he sent back a telegram. It's clear I can go. There's no problem. And they said, no, it's too risky. We're going to cut ourselves thin. Don't go. And he went back personally, all the way back to Germany, to speak one-on-one with Hitler, just to tell him to his face, this is the plan, this is what we can do. And Hitler heard it, and he says, okay, if that's the case, then go. But by the time he got back, it was already too late in the lunar month. In the desert, they attack by night. And you need the moonlight. And by that time already, the moon was too small. They had to wait. And by the time they waited, the sandstorms came, and they were delayed and delayed and delayed, until eventually they had to turn back around. And Palestine was saved. The Jewish people in Israel never were hit by the Holocaust. He could have gone there, and who knows how many more millions could have wiped out. Hashem Yishmor. So Hashem, even in the craziest time in history, is protecting us, sending sandstorms, making sure that we're saved, watching over us. This is again hashgacha pratit, and it's a lesson that we learned from Balak, even in dangerous times, even in scary times, things that we don't even know. So maybe today, for a minute, just when you pray, maybe besides for thanking Hashem for the things that we do know, maybe for 1 minute, just take a few seconds and say, you know what, by the way, Hashem, I just want to thank you. I know there's probably many things that could have gone wrong whether it's in health, whether it's people in business that are trying to harm me, whether it's people that are trying to physically hurt me, whether it's in the world as a Jew. And you save me, Hashem, today from those things. I don't even know about it, but I just want to save you for the miracles that I'm unaware of. I think that's a very powerful lesson, and again, a way of increasing emunah in ourselves, remembering that A, there is a God, B, He's watching over us, and thirdly, that the Torah that we have is precious. It wasn't written by a man, chas v'shalom, or a group of guys. The Torah was written by God. It's genius, it's brilliancy, it's perfection, from A to Z. We should be zocher always to adhere to it, to follow it, and to deserve the safety and the protection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll stop over here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.